Hey YouTube, welcome back to my channel. I'm sure you guys have already seen this, it's already gone out there, but I'm going to cover it anyway because I don't want this channel to become unbalanced. I think it possibly already has, and I want to introduce other members of the royal family to the channel. So this is about Prince William, which isn't really, the apple doesn't fall far from the tree. But this is about his documentary that he done the other day discussing mental health issues. And I feel as though this really does link in to his brother. I know that this documentary was obviously filmed way before COVID and lockdown and social distancing because they wasn't practicing it in the actual show. And it just was a display of compassion on William's part to talk about mental illness amongst men. And I think that this initiative was in part possibly sparked by Harry, so he decided to put this together. I thought personally that maybe Prince William is trying to deal with his pain and anguish over losing his brother to what I think he possibly thinks, now this is just my personal opinion, that Harry suffers from. I think he feels that Harry is suffering from some kind of mental illness, and the documentary really highlighted that Prince William is definitely going to make a good king. He has a way about him, and it was really nice to see him interacting with the other people with the compassion in his face. He has something from Diana that she had. Whenever you watched any interviews of Diana or you saw her interacting with us commoners, so to speak, there was that genuine compassion that really came down through the lens. And William has it. He definitely does have it. He has her gaze, and she definitely does live on through William. And as I was watching it, I thought to myself, Diana would have been so proud of William. He really was the best of her. He took the best of her, and he also took the best of Charles. He really did. So I'm really excited, as I've said in previous videos, for Prince William to ascend to the throne. I think that it's going to be a great thing, and I really think that he will do a really good job. William has had a lot of pressure on his shoulders. His family really, they have a lot of issues, dynamic issues going on. And I'm not saying directly William or Kate. I think you guys know what I'm talking about. You've got Megxie and Harry, who effectively have left them with this huge burden on their shoulders, and they've got to pick up the pieces where they left off. There's a lot of people in the royal family that have been extremely irresponsible with their privilege. And I don't think that this is going to happen here with William and Kate. We are really counting on them, and it was nice to see that it's fallen into his hands. In this documentary, he shared quite a few things that he's been struggling with, and it was nice to see him really show his vulnerability, really show his genuineness. He's completely different to Harry. I think when Harry does charity work, it just seems as though he is not really interested. We had that famous World Child speech, I believe it was, with the purple background, whereby Harry seemed to be laughing, then allegedly crying on stage, and it just was a mess. It wasn't believable. Everyone laughed initially, and then they realised, oh my god, he's actually sad. And it just seemed like he was taking the mickey, he was taking the piss out of all of us, out of the watcher. Like, he made it about him. William really didn't do that. He really allowed the men to speak. He really listened to the stuff that they were struggling with, and there were a lot of pieces in the documentary whereby he wasn't featured in the actual clip. So it was really nice to see. I'm gonna go here and read this article by Radio Times, I believe it was. It just says, new details are emerging about the father of three thanks to the new BBC documentary, Football, Prince William and Our Mental Health. He says that growing up in the spotlight has taught him many lessons, one of them being that vulnerability is okay. You can't be ashamed of your mental health, Prince William explained. You've got to be able to look it in the eye and go, I'm going to deal with it. Here we go. After years of public speeches, one never would have guessed that the Duke of Cambridge was afraid of speaking in front of crowds, but like his grandfather King George VI, it's very much a problem William strove to overcome. He overcame those fears by essentially blinding himself. And that's quite interesting to see, because we know that a lot of people do struggle with public speaking. This is something that really harks back to Diana. When Diana started to emerge out of the royal fold, she wanted to speak to people, she wanted to tell a story, but she was naturally intrinsically shy. And I've seen little elements of this in Charlotte. She comes across, she nods her chin down towards her neck, and she looks shy. So she looks like she has a lot of Diana in her. William obviously had the same. Diana had to learn how to speak. She wasn't naturally confident. Some people are naturally confident. A lot of people aren't. There's a hell of a lot of people who are not naturally confident, and they have to work at it. And that does come across from William. Harry looks like someone who is naturally confident. He takes everything in his stride, and he's not easily knocked or intimidated by other people. William has really had to work on his presence, and I think that harks back to being the eldest child, having that subconscious pressure has made him feel extremely shy at times, and he's had to work at it. But this is genetic, guys. He gets this from his mum. It carries on to say, removing his contact lenses during appearances, it helps because it's just a bit of a blur of faces and because you can't see anyone looking at you. He explained, I could see enough to read the paper and stuff like that, but I couldn't actually see the whole room. And that is a really nice confession to have. We rarely see this side of the royals, do we? We rarely see that vulnerability. We get the little wave from the Queen, we get the knighthoods, she gives the odd speech, but we rarely see them actually talking about. The last person to really do that, well, obviously we have Meghan and Harry, but they done it in a tragically bad way. But the last person to really do that was Diana, to share things that she'd struggled with personally, troubles and trials and tribulations. So it's really nice to see that we're going to have a future king who has extreme empathy, had to overcome his own personal issues. William feels a sense of obligation to help those who may not know that there are resources available in times of need. He shares in the film that suicide is the biggest killer of young men under 45, and he and Heads Up initially struggled to think of how to connect with this group. We felt football was a good way to reach some of the hard to reach people, to get them to talk about their feelings, to not let things get to a breaking point. He added, I mean, having children is the biggest life-changing moment. I think when you've been through something traumatic in life, your dad not being around, my mother dying when I was younger, your emotions come back in leaps and bounds because it's a very different phase of life. And there is no one there to kind of help you. I definitely found it very, very overwhelming at times. And then he goes on to talk about his parenting style with Catherine, which seems very balanced, very positive, with mutual respect and understanding. They possess a partnership that is very supportive of the crown, supportive of each other. The perfect ground for children. That's what came across to me personally anyway, as a viewer of the show. And it comes across when they're out together. They don't have the atypical PDAs, public displays of affection, because they don't need to do that. They have a mutual understanding. They say that the most insecure couples, the couples that are having the most issues, you will see a lot of PDA, you will see a lot of one reassuring the other, and it's all very forced. You generally find typically that these people subsequently may break up shortly after you've seen them displaying all these PDAs, but they were having issues anyway, hence they compensate with these public displays of affection, like they are trying to prove to the world, oh, we're in love, we love each other, we're happy, we're fulfilled. You see these people. So that's it, guys. Williams drops the gauntlet. I think he's let us know pretty much what is going on behind closed doors. I'm going to go now. Take care of yourselves. Bye, guys.